and welcome to Cavs Daily, your one stop shop for everything Cavalier related, the good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to talk about it here. I'm your host, Paul Williams, the authority of Cleveland Cavalier basketball. At least that's what I say. If anyone feels any different, hey, it's all for the love of the game and for the love of the Cavs, so no problem with that. If you guys could, before we get started, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it to have you along for the ride with me as we will be doing this every day leading into the Cavs season and through the Cavs season. And with that, let's get into the first topic, which is kind of talking about the beginning of the Cavs season. With the two big injuries to Cavs starters, Darius Garland and Max Strus, there's been a lot of question about who's going to fill those spots and what will the starting lineup look like when the Cavs take the court for their first game of the season on October 22nd against the New York Knicks. I've even thought about it a lot, and I don't think anyone knows for sure, maybe even not Kenny Atkinson at the moment, but from the tea leaves I've gotten and just my personal opinion, I don't think the Cavs are going to elevate Lonzo Ball to the starting spot where Darius Garland usually plays at the point guard. I think the Cavs will get a little creative there and slide Donovan to the point guard and put Sam Merrill at the two guard to kind of replace Darius Garland and have the backcourt of Donovan Mitchell and Sam Merrill. And that's going to give the Cavs an entirely different look, having a pure shooter out there with with Donovan Mitchell instead of Darius Garland. I think obviously the Cavs will not have the same firepower out of their backcourt without Darius in there, but I do think Sam Merrill can more than hold his own. He's earned the chance to have a spot start here and there, and I think he can do fine. And I also am confident with Donovan Mitchell running the point guard, especially after what he showed last season as a facilitator and just taking a step back from being just a pure scorer. So I do think that'll work out just fine at the guard spots. Transitioning to the forward spot where Max Strus usually plays, I'm thinking that Dean Wade slides into that spot. For some reason, whether it's Kenny Atkinson or JB Bickerstaff, they love Dean Wade. He always seems to get first crack at starting when someone's out, and sometimes even was starting when all the core four were available. So I can definitely see Dean Wade sliding into that three, which would give us a starting five of Donovan Mitchell, Sam Merrill, Dean Wade, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. It's not a bad starting five at all. And if we do go that route, we can kind of leave the bench unit intact for the most part, with DeAndre Hunter coming off obviously as the sixth man, and then Lonzo Ball coming off as the first guard off the bench, Larry Nance as the first big off the bench, and then probably Jalen Tyson just kind of as a Swiss Army knife that can play a bit of everywhere throughout the game as needed. And he's the one sleeper that could prove my predictions wrong, and maybe with a big training camp, and if he shows he has taken the strides it looked like he might have in Summer League, who knows, maybe he could hold down one of those two open starting spots. But for now, I do think it'll be Sam Merrill and Dean Wade filling in for Darius Garland and Max Strus. I guess we won't know for another month and a half or so, but those are my predictions. I'd love to hear yours if you want to post them down low. And if anything changes, and as soon as updates come out as far as where the Cavs are leaning with their starting five to begin the season, we will definitely talk about it here. Now, while starting fives are important, I do feel like in basketball, the guys that close the game are more important than the guys that start the game. At least when it's a close game, when it's a big game. If you're out there in the final minutes consistently in those type of games, you're a very, very important piece of that team, whether you started the game or not. There has been many cases where guys that come off the bench still played the minutes that mattered. I mean, even last year, whenever a guy we're going to talk about soon, Ty Jerome, was good Ty Jerome. he would close a lot of the games in place of Jared Allen. DeAndre Hunter closed a lot of games in place of Jared Allen. So you never know who's going to close those games. At least you can't know just based off the starting five from a team. So who do we think will be the core five guys that close most of the big games when we're fully healthy? I think we could right off the bat say, unless he's hobbled or really, really getting just exposed defensively, Darius Garland will be out there. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell will be out there. Obviously, Evan Mobley will be out there. Now, those final two spots, I think that's where it can get interesting because I can see situations where DeAndre Hunter is out there the majority of the time with that crew as well, which he was a lot last season. And I can also see, depending on how he's playing or if he's healthy, I could see Lonzo Ball out there with the playmaking, the willingness to play defense, and the size to play defense. Very strong against a point guard, shooting guard, or small forward. I could see Lonzo Ball being very valuable in closing game situations. So I could really see the Cavs go a bit small to close games with a lineup with Lonzo, Darius, Donovan, DeAndre Hunter, and Evan Mobley. And just saying that out loud, I actually really like that. I think that could be a scary lineup, especially in today's NBA. You don't always need a traditional power forward and center at all times, especially to close games. So, health permitting, I think that is a combo we will see a lot closing games. The only two spots I really see changing, or maybe one and a half spots, are that Lonzo spot closing the game. Maybe it's Jared Allen some of those times. Maybe it's Lonzo. Maybe it's Larry Nance if he's playing well. But I do think for the most part, Darius, Donovan, Evan, and DeAndre Hunter will close a lot of games. And I can't believe I've been forgetting, but obviously Max Strus will be in the mix too. He closed a lot of games as well the last couple of seasons, but there were also a lot of games where he wasn't out there in the closing lineup. So I think Max Strus would be more in the mix with the Lonzo spot. Maybe sometime, especially if Lonzo's out, the Cavs go Donovan, Darius, Max, DeAndre, and Evan. I could also see that as a closing five, which is very strong. Or maybe the Cavs just go traditional and they keep it with basically the starting five, but just with Hunter instead of Strus. So those are the combos that I see playing the most high leverage moments that can change throughout the season. If some guys are playing better than we thought and some aren't, who knows? It could be a different look to close most games by February, March, or April. But at the moment, those are the combinations that I see most likely closing the big games for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I did mention this guy who closed a few of the big games for the Cleveland Cavaliers last year, and that's Mr. Ty Jerome, the 28-year-old point guard who played 2 seasons in Cleveland and is now heading to the Memphis Grizzlies on a contract that is very surprising, but I guess if you watch the playoffs, not as surprising, as Ty Jerome definitely cost himself probably $5, 6, 7, $8 million a year with his playoff performance. It sounded like he was slated to get anywhere between 13 and 16 million a year when he was having his great run during the regular season. That ended up not coming to fruition at all, and he'll be playing for $8 million a year with the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, will we miss Ty Jerome? My answer is, if we could beep out the first word, no, we will not miss Ty Jerome. I know he had some big moments last year. He played well for the most part. I mean, he was one of the leading 6-man of the year candidates. So this is to take nothing away from Ty Jerome. But if you really watch Cav games, I just never loved his game. He was such just head down, always only looking for a shot, never really creating for others. It just felt like every time he got the ball, the shot was going up, and he was hitting the last year, so it worked out for everyone. But that hasn't been the Ty Jerome of his entire career. I mean, he's also struggled with a ton of injuries as well. He was on the Cavs for the past 2 years, even though most people only realize or think he was only on the Cavs for last season. But he did he was part of the 23-24 Cavaliers, but he only played in 2 games as he got injured in the second game and missed the entirety of the regular season. The 2 seasons before that, he only played 93 total games between OKC and Golden State. So, and uh, when he played with OKC in the 21-22 season, he only shot 37% from the field. He shot 29% from three. Uh, with Golden State, he shot better at 38% from three, but that was on very low volume. And then this year, he shot well over 40% at 43%, which is uber impressive. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I can critique a guy and not really like a guy's game while also giving him props where it's due. And he did have, for the most part, a productive season last year. I just don't think his game is something that we're going to miss as much as some people might think, especially bringing in Lonzo Ball. I think we'll be just fine, and I think Lonzo Ball is much more of the prototype of a backup guard that is built to win championships with a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I don't think we'll miss Ty Jerome at all. I think we'll see more of the Ty Jerome pre last season with the Memphis Grizzlies. I think he'll revert back to just a guy. I don't think he'll be a top 5, 6 man of the year again this year. He will have opportunity and minutes in Memphis with them moving off of Desmond Bane. So the opportunity will be there, but I don't know. Even if he has a decent year, I just don't think we're going to miss him that much. He averaged 12 points a game last year, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. His efficiency was good, but in the playoffs, he absolutely disappeared and was unplayable. And at 6'5", his defense should be much better. So, no, my answer is I don't think we'll miss Ty Jerome. I personally won't miss Ty Jerome, and I think the Cavs will be just fine without him. I think we have a plethora of guys that are capable of taking some of those Ty Jerome minutes, like even a Craig Porter or a Jalen Tyson, as we mentioned before. So I think the Cavs will be more than fine without Ty Jerome, and I wasn't too hurt about losing him in the offseason. Now, for the final topic of the day, and if you're still with me, thank you again. Please sub and continue interacting with these videos. I would love to hear from you as well in the comment section. With the last topic, I kind of just wanted to touch on how the Cavs will, I guess, fear to open the season, how they'll approach opening the season, and if they can get off to another hot start. Not like last year. I don't think we'll start 15-0 again this season, but will the Cavs get off to another start where they're able to build up a little cushion in the East going into maybe December, January, and already kind of be able to start looking toward the end of the season and the playoffs? I do think the Cavs will get off to a pretty solid start, even with the injuries. I just think the system the Cavs have in place, the way Kenny Atkinson coaches and runs his offense, and with swapping out Darius Garland for whether it's Sam Merrill, Alonzo Ball, someone along those lines, I think our defense will tick up with that switch early in the year. So I can see the Cavs getting off to another hot start as they did last year. Their early season schedule isn't exactly daunting. They don't even play a Western Conference team for the first month of the season. Their first 10, 15 games include games against the Brooklyn Nets, the Toronto Raptors twice, the 76ers, the Washington Wizards, the Chicago Bulls, Miami twice. As I mentioned, the first Western Conference game is November 15th versus the Grizzlies, who aren't looking like too much of a contender at the moment. I just looking at their early season schedule, I don't see too many situations where the Cavs should lose more than a game or two in a row. I think the Cavs will be able to get off to a solid start, maybe 11-4, 12-3, something like that, and build from there. And then as they slowly integrate Darius and Max Drews back, um, who knows? Maybe they hit a little bit of a bump before regaining control and getting back on track to their winning ways. But to start the season, I do see the Cavs starting off hot with the mix of the schedule they have, the home games they have, and just the fact that I do think this team is built to be a regular season killer. When we were missing guys last year, we usually didn't skip a beat. So I see no reason to think that we will this season. So yeah, be excited. Look for the Cavs to get off to a good start. And if we're not number one in the East by at least, I'll say, 3 or 4 games by December 1st when we host the Indiana Pacers, call me out. Let's come back to this video and I'll say I was wrong. But right now, I'm saying yes, the Cavs will get off to another hot start. No, it will not be as historic as last year. And yes, they will be number one in the East by the time December and then the Christmas games roll around. And with that comes the end of another edition of Cavs Daily. I hope you enjoyed being here with me. I again do really appreciate it. And yeah, that's all for today. I will see you guys on tomorrow's episode. Have a wonderful rest of your day.